For a number of years, my wife and I have bowled with the Community of Christ Bowling League here in Independence. This year, there was a men's league on the lanes next to us. One night, I noticed one of the bowlers a few lanes down from us. He was a young man, probably about 25, and he was dressed completely in black. He wore black pants, a black shirt, a black baseball cap, and even had dark sunglasses on the entire time he was bowling. I also noticed he had earbuds that I assumed were connected to a device that was playing music and which he never removed, even when he was bowling. When he was not bowling, he sat by himself and did not appear to ever talk to his teammates. This young man seemed to be doing everything he could to isolate himself from those around him. It was as though he didn't want anyone to see him and he didn't want to see anyone else. I began to wonder why this young man wanted to be so alone. A few minutes later, a man on the team we were bowling against rolled his ball and then dropped to his hands and knees on the bowling alley. We could tell he was in distress, and one of his teammates went up to see what was wrong. While the rest of us were watching him and his teammate, something else happened. The young man, who previously seemed to be distant and aloof, walked across 4 lanes of bowling and knelt down next to our distressed friend to see if there was anything he could do to help. For a few minutes, he talked to the man who had fallen and stayed with him until he was ready to get to his feet. As I watched this scene unfold, it occurred to me that a transformation had taken place. The young man who had previously been seeking isolation had reached out to help another person who was suffering. In that moment, transformation had occurred. But the transformation was not in the young man. It was in me, as I realized that my perception of this young man had been incomplete and inadequate. While I had perceived him only as someone who was in need of the compassionate ministries exemplified in Christ, I discovered that he was actually someone who was willing to generously share those ministries. In that event, I learned a lesson about identifying the true capacity referred to in Doctrine and Covenants, section 163, paragraph 9, which says, "Give generously according to your true capacity." My assumption had been the young man did not have much capacity to share compassionate ministries because he needed to receive compassionate ministries. In my transformation, I was reminded that generosity does not occur only after we have received all that we need to completely fill us. It occurs when we are able to find our place as a part of the system that God has created to promote a cycle of receiving and sharing among all of us, a cycle that begins with God's generosity towards us and our receiving of it. This system of receiving and sharing is an integral part of the peaceable kingdom. Identifying our true capacity does not begin with evaluating how much we have to give. It begins with deciding that we want to become part of the peaceable kingdom and then looking for ways to do that. Ways that include helping a stranger in the bowling alley, giving to local ministries to support your congregation's mission, and giving to worldwide ministries to support the implementation of our mission initiatives throughout the world.